love and relationships and attachment. Yeah. So the word attachment is often given a very bad name in the spiritual world. It's as if we are not supposed to be attached, as if attachment is bad, wrong, not spiritual if you feel attached. And perhaps even the opposite to love, true love. But what I'm saying actually is that it is not wrong, it is not bad, it is absolutely natural and normal for these humans to sometimes be attached, to feel an attachment to someone close or to even to something. And it doesn't mean that you are not spiritual or that you are not absolute love. So, first of all, we have to look at what is love. And this word also can be used in many different ways and be considered many different things in a way. So, I'm using it now to refer to absolute love, our true nature. Yeah. So, our true nature is awareness, stillness, silence, peace, wholeness, oneness, all these beautiful words, and love. And I might use the word love in this case to refer to the fact that our true nature includes it all, welcomes it all, embraces it all unconditionally. So, whatever is happening in the human experience is included in and as who you are. So there's nothing that could be excluded, nothing that is outside of who you are, outside of love. So when we talk about actual intimate relationships between humans or animals or anyone really, it can get more complicated because when we love someone, as much as we might feel like we love them unconditionally, usually there are some kind of conditions that come in, which again is natural and normal and human. We are unconditional love. That is our true nature. But as this human, we play in the more conditional world. And the more we recognize and have awakened or do continue to awaken to our true nature as absolute love, the less conditional it can become. But still, even so, it is very natural to feel certain conditions related to our relationships. For example, we don't want to necessarily be in a relationship where we are being abused, for example, or even someone that we don't particularly resonate with. And so these natural conditions are there. And so if we're trying to be absolute love in our human experience, this is not going to work. This usually becomes a mental position where we have some kind of attitude where we think that we should just love everyone equally all the time. And it usually becomes very messy. And I see this often with people who are on the spiritual path, spiritual seekers, trying to be that absolute love in the world, in their relationships. Yeah, and it causes a lot of pain and a lot of confusion. And then we throw in this word attachment. When we misunderstand and we think that we shouldn't be attached, again, this can cause a lot of heartbreak, because any time we might get a bit too close to someone, it might be rejected as being attachment. And again, this just causes a mental position, a certain attitude, and a closing down from intimacy, which is the opposite of what we most deeply long for, really. So, what makes us feel attached in relationships is often the longing for safety, for deeper connection, real connection, and yet perhaps not quite finding what we're really longing for. Yeah, it can be a kind of dependency that plays out. Can be all kinds of old patterns that play out, probably coming from our childhood, but maybe the way we saw our parents relate to each other or the way we were treated as children. And we carry that baggage into our intimate relationships, or even not just intimate relationships, into our friendships, into our family dynamics. And so if attachment is not wrong and bad, not something to be got rid of, then how do we deal with it? I would say that we become more and more conscious of it. So that means meeting it for what it is, waking up to it, with it, feeling the sensations or the emotions that are there with it, because some of that can be quite painful or frightening even. Or maybe there's anger or all kinds of messy emotions that perhaps you don't want to feel, or perhaps feel unacceptable to feel or even express in a relationship. And so when we acknowledge an old pattern, an old wound or issue that we've carried, some old baggage, when we invite it to be here, we question it, we look more closely with curiosity, not trying to get rid of it, not trying to fix it or push it away, not trying to polish it and make it perfect somehow, but simply looking at it with curiosity and love, actually, and compassion. Compassion for these humans, right? They've been through a lot in their lives, and they have good reasons for these patterns that they play out. They're trying, for example, just to have safety. Well, this is very normal and, natural human response to life. Longing for love, longing for true intimacy, connection. This is also, absolutely a real and totally understandable longing. It just might be directed in a way that isn't so healthy, let's say, or pure, when we are trying to grasp the other. We're trying to get it, or to become whole by grasping hold or holding on to the other, hoping to be fulfilled or to find safety or some sense of wholeness in the other. This, of course, will always end in some kind of pain and heartbreak because the other cannot give us what we most deeply long for. Because what we most deeply long for is to wake up to who we are, to know the love that we really are, that always embraces and includes everything. So if we are overlooking that and we are looking to the other to get that, we are looking in the wrong place. And this is going to turn the relationship into some kind of messy situation for sure. Because when one is doing that, the other will have some other pattern that it also plays out. And although both partners long for the same thing, true intimacy, they're not able to meet in that way because of these patterns. And so this doesn't necessarily have to be the end of that relationship if there is a willingness to look with curiosity at these patterns. If there is enough love and connection in the relationship to hold this exploration together, to talk about it, to share, but also to take time alone to meet it and to be with it, to reveal more and more of perhaps the layers of that grasping, that wanting, that fear. And you might find that actually in exploring it, without trying to get rid of it, in embracing it, you discover the love that you're longing for, that is not outside of you, but it is that love that even embraces attachment. It even embraces these old patterns and wounds and heartbreak and fear and anger and whatever is here. And there's a deep intimacy with yourself as love when we embrace these aspects of ourselves, that we're not trying to exclude any part of ourselves. We meet it, we hold it in compassion, knowing that it is all part of this human experience. And in my experience, the more we become conscious of these patterns, the more they're welcome to be here. And at the same time, they don't run the show. They're not in charge. They don't run your relationships anymore. They might still pop up, right? They're welcome. No one's trying to get rid of them. They might still pop up, but they are not in charge. They don't have the power. Yeah, so that's the big difference. Perhaps before, those patterns were just running unconsciously. But as you become more conscious of them, they don't necessarily go away, but they lose their power. And so when they come up, it's like welcoming an old friend or a little child, an aspect of you. But at the same time, you're identified with that bigger self, that unconditional love that is back here, which is absolute intimacy, true intimacy. And then when you meet the other as yourself. You meet them from meeting yourself. When you look in their eyes or you meet them in any way, you connect with them, you know them. They are you. This is what we most deeply long for, this real intimacy, this real connection that includes every aspect of the human drama and dance of life.